Alrighty, traders, welcome to our daily trade recap and market review here on Tuesday, August 8th, 2023. Let's jump into it. Nice update for us today, $563. We'll talk about that in just a moment as our strangles pay off, but let's jump into the markets and see how things were looking today. So as we take a look, let's just jump into SPY here. SPY had pretty much just a mixed day, slightly down on the day, pretty indecisive candlestick here. Again, just hanging in between these two support and resistance zones, previous support, previous resistance. We'll see how it goes, but we're just hanging out in here. Yesterday, we tried to take the 21 EMA. Today, we did, then we didn't. We still finished higher than we opened, but we did gap down. But we finished a little bit higher than that. We were down significantly more earlier and then rallied as the day went on. One thing to take a look at here, not that one day means a lot, but yesterday we started to look like that MACD might be starting to twist back up in our favor on the bullish side, but turned bright red again today on the MACD. RSI continues to head a little bit lower on this particular move on the daily. And then the weekly, nothing really happening, just an inside, week so far. We'll see what happens. I'll see if we get anything higher or lower, but nothing unusual on the daily, nothing different on the Qs here. Pretty much the same thing, except, yesterday looked like a decent looking candle again. Today we had this longer wick to the downside. And finished well off of our lows. So it's not the worst thing in the world. We're just hanging out in this same type of an area in between these two support resistance zones. We're above the 50. It's all good on the Qs, and then on IWM, same type of thing. I mean, last 2 days, bears tried to take it down further. Bulls were not letting it go down a whole lot more than it was. So overall, fairly constructive. We didn't hold the 21 EMA, which is a little concerning on the daily. Weekly, really nothing to worry about at this point in time. We've got a nice cross of the 21 over the 50. The 21 had already crossed the 200 on the EMA. So you're stacked now on EMAs, which is pretty decently bullish on any pullback and a bounce here. Things look good. So we'll see how those things all pay off in the market. Let's take a look at where we are on some of the futures. Aussie dollar, really not a whole lot going on today. Did sell off a bit early, finished higher like everything else. I'm going to jump back into the dollar and just take a look there, but it was up and down, but really just finished flat on the day. So really no move on the US dollar, but looks like it still wants to continue its move higher, which is why we're a little weaker in some of the other pieces. And then bonds on TLT continued to try to come off of their lows. I think we're again oversold temporarily, at least on bonds. The weekly may not be done yet, but on the daily, we've continued to try to rally off these oversold levels here and try to reverse higher. And VIX was pretty much just unchanged on the day. Tried to spike up a bit more as we moved down lower early in the morning, and then just kind of gave it up as we move later. And you can see MACD starting to roll over. So a little momentum coming out of the volatility. See how that continues to look. On the euro, really nothing exciting today. I mean, we dropped, the dollar ran up a bit, and it is what it is. On there, oil pretty much unchanged on the day. It had dropped decently early, rallied towards the highs of the day. So oil looks pretty good. That's a pretty bullish looking opportunity here. We've had 2 long wick days in a row. The bears can't seem to pull this thing back down as they need to right now. So I think we're still looking at fairly bullish oil, but getting a bit overdone. MACD is rolling over, and RSI is not making new highs as we stay up here. Gold. Taking a look at gold. Just for the week is down overall. We've had several down days in a row. you can see these Bollinger Bands really tightening up. Gold is getting into a squeeze, and it's going to make a move one way or the other. We're going to see which way gold ends up going. I'm not going to make any real predictions, but if the market starts to tail off, I would expect gold to run higher, but that's not happening here on the market pullback. Gold is not rallying on it. So people are not fleeing towards gold. They're fleeing more into the dollar here, more than anything. So look at the sectors. Techs finished off their lows of the day, but just barely hanging on to that 50 EMA. Not great on the tech side. I think techs are still one of the weaker sectors. XLY was down on the day a fraction. XLC pretty much unchanged on the day. Nothing drastic looking there. Energy had a decent little day up on the day, about 0.5%. So decent day for XLE. XLF did gap down and then finished off of its lows, holding the 21 EMA. So decent on financials there. Healthcare as well had a decent day here, rallying again. One thing I want to look at and bring some interest to is when you look through all of these different sectors, with the exception of pharma, which was up 2%, nothing was really up or down major. Nothing was up or down more than 1%, except pharma, which has had just an unbelievable run for weeks now, as pharma moves. But if we look at individual stocks, Amazon down 1.6% after this big gap up. Nothing really bad to look at there. It's so over extended here. A little pullback is fine. I think that's totally healthy for Amazon. Apple actually had an up day today. So Apple was one of the only tech stocks to be up, and that's after this couple crushing days in a row. It got a little bit of a bounce today. Definitely oversold RSI, oversold here on MACD. Doesn't mean it can't go further. And we could have some more downside, but I think when you take a look at it, Apple is at a level here where you could maybe start to nibble at it. It's past its 3 ATR to the downside. I would consider doing something in Apple, maybe a leap or something like that, and selling it below this 200 EMA here. So I think in the 160s is a great place to put some leaps on for Apple. So Microsoft down pretty decent on the day, down about 1.5, not quite 1.5, 1.23%. It was down worse during the day, did finish off of its lows, starting to curl back up here. So that's, again, a little bit of a bullish sign. Are we starting to get to a point where the selling may be starting to abate? We can see that on Apple, not quite yet, but you are oversold. On Microsoft, on the MACD, it has been for 3 days now, seeing the momentum coming out, even though we're heading lower. And on these lower moves, even though this is the lowest we've been since all the way back here in June, we're not at a new low on RSI. We're pretty much at the same levels we were at here. So I'm not going to call that a big divergence or anything, but you can but it's certainly not giving us new lows. But let's jump around. Nvidia had 1.7% down day, but nothing major on Nvidia. And if we take a look at Tesla real quick, MACD has just been flat here, trying to come off its lows. Nothing. RSI not hitting really big new lows. It's been very flat in here. So I think you're starting to see some possible, I don't know if you're going to call it bottoming action, but maybe the momentum to the downside is starting to abate a bit. But let's look at the big winner for the day and go all the way down here to Bitcoin and take a look at Bitcoin. I posted this in the Discord today. If anyone could tell me which asset was actually up, at one point over 2.5%, and that was Bitcoin today. So while it finished a little bit off its highs, Bitcoin had a PSAR bullish reversal today. broke back up over the 21 EMA, which had been a decent amount of resistance here. You had this downtrend line that we had been bouncing off of, which we broke above. So PSAR bullish reversal, broke back above the 21 EMA, which is still stacked. We are back to the center of the Bollinger Bands and Keltner channels here. MACD has been reversing. RSI is rising back above 50. So I think if you get the MACD back above the zero line here, and you've got RSI already above 50, PSAR bullish, it's a good time for Bitcoin. Taking a look at the weeklies as well, you got RSI starting to curl back up. Weekly is not quite as great, but it's in a bit of a squeeze. These are pretty tight Bollinger Bands on the weekly, which are starting to maybe open up. So we could see, Bitcoin running up a bit more. It could potentially run at least 1,000 or more points. I would probably be looking, if we get some more follow through on this, to start testing these Bollinger Bands up here around 3,100, 3,943. So I think you've got some upside on Bitcoin. I'd definitely be watching that. The proxy for Bitcoin for many traders is MicroStrategy. And MicroStrategy, again, it's bouncing. MACD is turning, RSI off the lows. It doesn't look quite as good as Bitcoin itself, but it's one way to play it. And I think if you're thinking Bitcoin's going to get long, then you want to definitely take a look at MicroStrategy. It's been a great leap trade for me as well. And then Coin, so Coinbase also trying to reverse here. Don't know this is the pure Bitcoin play. I like Bitcoin itself better, but not too shabby here. This could be a good spot to sell some puts on it. So I think Bitcoin, I think Coin, and I think keeping an eye on some of these tech stocks in here could pay off. I don't know that we're done selling, but I think if we're going to make that next leg higher, I think we're close. So I think we're closer to being done going down for a bit than we may be going up, but who knows? It's really difficult to predict right here. So we'll just stick with our current trade plan as it is anyway. Oxy slightly down on the day, but chart-wise, this thing looks pretty good as we start to stack up. Here you get the 50 EMA about to cross the 200 on the daily, and then you've got a nice looking weekly chart here where this thing I think has definite room to run a little bit higher. So I like Oxy in here as well. We do have puts on Oxy. So we'll keep an eye on where that might be. All right, let's take a look at the account today and jump into it. All right, so looking at the account here on the day, on the main account, Delta's popped up again, a down day. Delta's popped back up 582, back over 0.2%. So again, we're right at that point where it's a little bit outside of where I want to be. I do want to get those Deltas down. So got a lot of positive Delta trades on. We need to pull some off. Theta 738 pretty much stayed the same, 0.26. Netlig dropped at the fraction today, 281, still in the same frame it's been for a couple of days. BP usage pretty much unchanged on the day, and we did, as I mentioned, take a positive 563 out of the market today, giving us 1,335 up for the month so far. In really, what are we looking at? 6 trading days, we've made $1,300, about 0.5%. So totally on track for a 3% month. So I think we're perfect where we want to be. And if we look at the trade that we had today, it was a ES Strangle that we had on. We are really evaluating the weekly Strangle strategy that we're doing. The way I'm doing it and having 4 on at all times, putting 1 on a week every Wednesday, taking the most profitable off. Now, the most profitable is not always 50%. The most profitable could be lower. It could even be a loss. But because of the strategy and my unwillingness to want to go over 30% of my usable BP on any one strategy, it limits the size of the contracts that I can do. So we're nowhere near larger size that we could be. So what I'm going to do is probably back off of the weekly version and just keep playing ES Strangles. I'll probably size them up a bit. We probably won't be putting them on a routine basis. What we're going to do is keep at least 3 rotating, and I'll probably take off them at 50%, which is what I did today. We closed one at 50%. For a nice $563 winner, 15.5% return on capital in 62 days. So fantastic return in 62 days. If you're averaging 15% in 62 days, it's about 7.5%, almost 8% a month that you're getting on that trade. That's a pretty good annual return. So loving what Strangles are doing. We're going to make some more money by, I think, improving our strategy on this and really letting the probabilities play out on ES and GC Strangles. So keep an eye on what we're doing tomorrow, but I think we're going to keep playing these at about a 50% winner, as opposed to just taking them off weekly. If we look at the small account, no trades in this, nothing's closed yet this month, which is totally expected. We don't have a lot of trades in there, and we'll just let this thing percolate along. So still up nicely. Here, BP usage is getting a little hefty and staying there. We do have to keep an eye on it. If we're looking in the small account here, we're going to see where we are on some of these long-term 112 trades. It's almost time to get another one on. And we've got, for sure, we'll probably hit some 95% profits on the naked puts on some of these. So we will be closing and getting a few of those. This Strangle is getting close to a winner as well. And we have some naked puts that just need a little bit of time to get where they're going. So all good on that particular one. And then if we're looking at the IRA account as well, this account that we track, again, we have not closed anything for the month. It's all good. We got plenty of time and a bunch of stuff maturing in there. Delta is 208, which is 0.09, so very delta neutral here. Theta 363, which is decent theta, 0.16. I'd like to be a little bit higher, but I think where we are is not bad. It's always twice delta. And buying power, though, came down a tad today, but still around 58. So something to keep an eye on for the market. All right, so there's where we are on our trades for the day. Good up day on realized income. Again, closing another good trade. And we'll see you guys in the markets tomorrow. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button here on the channel. Please subscribe. Let me know what you'd like to see content-wise. We'll keep trying to bring you valuable content on a daily basis. Strangles on futures, paying off big for us. You guys have a great day. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.